CJ Knows Show.
They're eating the dogs. Whoa, 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 whoa. They're eating the cats. Meow, 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 meow. They're eating the pets of the people that live there.
Wow. Well, what's happening in our country is insanity, Henry. I can't believe this was a presidential debate in the United States of America, and this man is a candidate putting out so much garbage and hate against immigrant community of ours. I just can't believe it, and I hear that song constantly. They're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. Henry, tell me, what are we doing today about this? What are we going to talk about?
Well, it seems like every second or third presidential debate, there's a moment that really stays in the psyche of the American culture. But I don't think anyone could have expected something like this, something like that. But we found someone that can probably help us sort through all this. Hedder Pierre-Joseph is the president of the Democratic Haitian American caucus of Florida. And she can also speak to her personal immigrant experience, as well as the political growing power of the Haitian community. And she's standing by to help us sort through this right now, CJ.
Oh, let's meet Hedder. Hedder, how you doing, Ms. Pierre-Joseph?
I'm great, and yourself?
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, it's an honor. For me, it's always a great thing to meet the people that really get involved and appreciate our great democracy. Well, our republic anyway, and that we're always in a struggle to see change and make our country better. But thank you for being on the program.
You're welcome.
Tell me something about what's going on here with this comment and how it's affected the Haitian community, immigrant community in general, and what you've seen out on the ground.
Well, I wear two hats, right? I don't get emotional about things. And being in politics, being the president of the Democratic Haitian Caucus of Florida, I understand what the tactics of the Republican Party is. Member J.D. Vance said it first. He was irrelevant at the moment. So he needed a couple of hours. He needed a couple sound bites that came there. The part that's disheartening about it is that the rhetoric is dangerous. Kids are being bullied in school, and certain people believe it actually to be true. And my first position was, just not respond. Let's do what's necessary. But it's been repeated numerous times by former President Trump, his son. And so now it's to the point of where, like the saying goes, please don't poke sleeping dogs, right? And so you've poked us, not realizing that the Haitian community, we're citizens right now, right? We're far removed from the images that media places. And I said, so for him, I think it's a negative, especially in Florida, where he gained some votes from the Haitian community.
Well, do you think, so you understand the political landscape of Florida. They've sort of pushed Florida aside. It used to be a purple state, they thought, and it made a difference. If you won Florida, you're going to win the president. Now they're talking Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and states that are very white in their mind. So what if the Haitians like us or not? Maybe the R's are saying. What do you think is happening as far as the reality of Haitian Americans in our community, as far as numbers and them willing to vote? Has this, galvanized the Haitian community in the United States to come out and vote, the ones that can, the ones that are citizens?
Absolutely, absolutely. And even the ones who are kind of conservative and Republican leaning, and the independents, and they're absolutely furious. So they're going to vote. They may vote conservatively on some of the amendments, but they most definitely will not be voting for Donald Trump.
Well, what do you think of the numbers? I mean, do you have an idea of the numbers in Florida of Haitians that are registered to vote and capable of voting?
It's estimated in South Florida alone, Miami, it's about 500,000, between 300,000 and 500,000. We're counted in the Black demographic. So there are probably about 3 million Black voters in the state. So we say out of that, probably maybe 1 million of those votes are Haitian voters, Haitian voters who have assimilated. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I'm a big advocate of immigrants, and you would think our president and former president would understand that. Our Statue of Liberty alone, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be breathe free, right? I mean, that's the basis of what made this country. Do you feel there's still a very strong racial divide going on in this country? I mean, you're an immigrant. you've seen this, how our country works, how our state works. What's your opinion about all this?
Yeah, I'm going to use the word because I know you guys are kind of lax. They dog us out, right? Until they need us as essential workers. When they want to exploit us,
Right.
you
So,
know. So in that sense, we're valuable. But for rights and seeing us in humanity, we're not valued by some people. And it's capitalism. And I don't think America always has an immigrant. You see, like you said, give us our huddle masters. So history has taught us that there's always a subgroup. And that subgroup, after Reconstruction and after the prison to jail pipeline, has been immigrants.
yeah, I think the country, though, I mean, tell me what you think. The country has been founded on the principle of racism. There's the white community has a different memory of history as the Latino, African American, Haitian immigrant community, in the sense that we don't have a common memory. We're divided, and we can't, this idea, I like the word woke, because we need to study our history and understand where we've been so we can bridge the gap and bring us together. Women were, 51 times the Constitution says him, it never says her. So it's not really about women. African Americans were 3/5 human. Native Americans were not even human. This is how we started our nation. That's the foundation. And in a way, if you think about it, and my wife's Colombian, and she was saying, when I told her that Hillary Clinton got 3 million votes more than former President Trump in that election, and she still lost. She goes, well, I guess we're not Democratic. I said, no, we're a Republic. It's designed for the white rich man to prevail. I mean, honestly, that's what it is. But to get to the next chapter in our history of our nation, we need to have that true understanding of history. Our governor goes about destroying education and the truth of who we are and where we come. Look at Haiti, the first nation, I think, to break the bonds and chains of slavery. Am I correct? Back in
Correct.
the day,
1804.
1800s, right? And
Yes.
but yet they suffer under the political ideologies of different Western nations, and it's caused this. But we have great people that have come to this country, like yourself, and the brain drain has always helped us. It hurts the country they have come from, their parents have come from. And we benefit from all this immigration, either working in the fields as busboys, as lawyers, as doctors, as Pulitzer Prize winners. We have so many immigrants of color that make a huge positive difference. But yet there's a percentage of Americans, of white Americans, or I'd say U.S. citizens, or people from the United States, because America is all over, right? I mean, Central America, South America. What do you think about that? Do you think we're contributing, the Haitian community is contributing to the United States? And how do you think that's going? I'm just curious from your point of view.
This conversation has brought up a lot of things. I had to remind one of my coworkers. I said, oh, do you remember that thing where they taught us in school? Because yes, I am Haitian, but I consider myself American Haitian, right? Those are two different things.
Sure.
America reared me. And so you remember this thing called Louisiana Purchase? And I was like, before America was America, we were French. So Louisiana, absolutely, Chicago. And I consider myself, I say this all the time, I consider myself first and foremost a descendant of enslaved Africans. Every Black person is not. Former President Barack Obama is not a descendant of an enslaved African. His father came from Kenya. And so from that perspective, I understand that my ancestors' boats happen to be French, however it goes, happen to land on an island called Hispaniola. So I do claim my Latin heritage. I'm Afro-Latino. I do claim it by definition.
True.
And we go from there. And remember that most of the colonies were French owned, French and Spanish. So I think with America, it's a lack of history. Those who
lack of
control our
knowledge
books,
of the
who write
truth, right?
textbooks. Yeah.
Yeah, I
But
agree.
then
I mean,
those who control, who write the textbooks, right?
right.
And it's just so I think the browning of America is what they're ultimately afraid of. They're afraid of our intellect. They didn't see what was to come. And so you can never, good always outweighs bad. And so I think while we become more educated, we begin to write more textbooks. And so that's where you think the fear is coming from.
Right. But it's historically in different countries. We saw Nazi Germany with the attack of Jews. In our country, it's now the attack. You got to have an enemy, right? The immigrant community. I don't like the term illegal person because nobody's illegal. Matter of fact, it's not even a crime to be here undocumented. And most people are coming for political asylum. They're knocking at the border. There's laws that take care of this. You know, if you commit a crime, you have a right to an attorney, but an immigrant doesn't, because it's not a crime, even though they can lock you up, detain you for years. It's not a crime. And we dehumanize in our nation people that haven't done really anything wrong, that if they're good Christian values, you would support, because they're trying to free themselves from the problems they're coming from or the hunger they're suffering. And you know, I understand protecting the borders, but it seems like the Republican Party is out to create an enemy that doesn't exist. They're not generally violent and problematic as to the general populace. We need the immigrants to work our labor, do our bidding, do the things, and we should welcome more people in than reject them. Do you agree with that statement or not? I mean, how do you feel about that?
I do, but I understand from the Americans' perspective of where we need to control our borders, right? I do understand.
Of course.
My only issue with that is the institutional racism that's embedded in our immigration process.
So you're saying it's not fair?
It's not a Haitian issue. It's an African. It's a Black issue. So once you remove the barriers, we can put limits. I think even now people don't look at the backlog. So when you tell a group of people, and the people, I kind of disagree, the people are not fleeing because they're hungry. If you look, they're fleeing because conflict. Masses of people flee. Now, they don't flee because they're hungry. They don't flee because they don't have modern amenities. The Maslow hierarchy of needs tells us that, right? So we understand the thing that causes people to flee, we call them immigrants. Most of those people are refugees. They're fleeing the gun violence from the American guns, whether it's Mexico, Central America, Panama, Nicaragua. There's always an influx of Sudan, wherever you happen to find yourself, Somalia. It's an influx of American rifles that are destabilizing these countries, and you get these waves of refugees. And America needs to understand that it is your guns that are causing these countries that are older than you are, causing these people to flee. So on that aspect, I think we need to kind of speak truth to power, and we're going to tell these things. We need to tell the truth. So when these people are fleeing, they're fleeing because they're refugees.
We need to educate the populace of the truth behind why people are here, why it's good, what we should be doing. We're with Hedder Pierre-Joseph. We'll be back in a moment. Henry, do you have anything to add here before?
Yeah, I just sort of, to take us back where we started, we've talked a lot about the Haitian American community in Florida, and the immigration ties in with the Haitian community in Springfield. But I was wondering what Hedder's analysis of how it will play around the country, because Ohio's, I think it leans Trump now, but it's had a history of being a swing state one way or the other. And even the people that aren't Haitian in Ohio now must not like the way the spotlight has been turned on their state. So give us the landscape of the Haitian diaspora, Haitian Americans around the country, where their political power may influence this election.
Atlanta, Georgia, wherever there's a Haitian embassy, right? A consulate, right? Miami, Orlando, Florida, Washington, D.C., military, full of Haitians. So wherever your military bases are, Texas, Jacksonville, you name it. Even Cincinnati, Ohio, when you talked about immigrants, it also has a heavy African population, right? So when you talk about Ohio, the Haitians that were in Ohio, they have TPS. They're not undocumented. They're documented. They just don't have permanent green cards. They don't have permanent residency. And so I think the Haitian American community is everywhere. North Carolina, all your college campuses, right? But it's hard to identify us because we've assimilated. We are Black. We are hidden in those Black numbers. And it took, and Mr. Donald Trump, I want to say thank you for raising attention, raising our consciousness, and bringing us out the woodworks to identify. So in terms of actual numbers and identifying where we are, Chicago, I mean, we're everywhere, right? Haitians are everywhere. Look where your restaurants are. Yeah.
And then coming back home then to hit us here in Florida, from your position as president of the Democratic Haitian American Caucus of Florida, how has it changed the dynamic of your caucus just in the last few weeks?
Oh, everyone's excited. I think Haitians had not integrated into the political arena, right? We're just 50 years in. The first boatload of Haitians lasted on the coast of Palm Beach in December 1973. And as most immigrant communities is, you go to school, you educate yourself, you stay below. We don't get involved in politics coming from dictatorship. But I meant this has kind of forced us now. They're like, oh, we're glad we had a caucus. The caucus got formally in January 2024. So everyone's excited. Everyone's, we're ready for battle. So we're ready
as long as we can get
party.
As long as you get Haitians very active in the political structure, in a lot of Latin American or Hispanic caucuses, politically, there are always progressive whites and less Hispanics involved. You're trying to tell me here the Haitians are coming out in numbers and helping.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, and Donald Trump couldn't have done this at a better time, right? The caucus just got formed late this year, so it's raised everyone's awareness politically, and the caucus is here to stay, and they're going. So the next coming up years, you're going to see a lot of Haitian Americans involved in the Democratic Party itself.
Well, I can't wait to see them when they're running for office, and I think you have and others. This is a good thing. So we want to thank Hedder Pierre-Joseph for being on this portion of our show, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Thank you.
The CJ Knows Show